Back come I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life. Don't let nobody else do it. Cause so and I gon' have Metro S550s cruising. Feel like you winning on the ground.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. Now, speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off of your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code TheRunPodcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but it is that time for basketball season, so you need to use that promo code. Go to a basketball game, or even if you don't like basketball, go to a concert. Go anywhere you can think of that involves tickets and use that promo code from SeatGeek. Create that account and use that code, The Run Podcast. Now, on a more sad note, I guess, maybe not. It depends on the team that you're a fan of. The Falcons just lost to the New York Jets. And I've kind of become accustomed to this at this point. It's not even anything that's surprising to me. I don't think there's much that this Falcons team can do that will catch me off guard and shock me at this point. I've seen this type of tragedy from the Falcons for a long, long time. And now I'm kind of accustomed to it, especially after a certain point in the season. None of these games really matter to us anymore. At this point, Falcons are just playing for pride week after week. Clearly, we're not getting to the playoffs. I mean, we clearly don't want to get better. We haven't made any coaching changes and all of that stuff. So, at this point, it doesn't bother me as much. However, the one thing that does bother me is the fact that I got to talk about a bad team every single week. Now, that's where I struggle. And I'll get to the point here, but stay with me. I struggle because I don't like talking about bad teams. And for the fact of me staying to my word and sticking to what I immediately claimed of covering the Falcons and staying on the Falcons each week. Oh, man, this is the part that's killing me the most because, man, I do not like talking about bad teams. I much rather go talk about just anything else happening in the league. I would love to put together a different segment about something else, which we have later in the show. But oh my gosh, man, every week the Falcons doing this to me? Are you kidding me? All right, so just look, you'll have more outside of the Falcons. But first, let's start with this because the Falcons lost to the Jets 27-24. And this is just crazy. You lose to a 2-9 Jets team and bruh. Can't catch a break. For the Falcons, honestly, though, there's not really much bright side for the season, but to give some statistics on where the Falcons are in their season, obviously, most people know the Falcons' D-line has been the promising aspect of this team. The defense for the Falcons have been pretty solid for the most part, but the Falcons are ranked they're ranked third in sacks in the NFL right now. Falcons have the third most sacks in the NFL. And the Falcons are on pace to break the franchise record of 55 sacks in a single season, which is dope. They currently have 41 sacks, so they would need at least 3 more sacks in each game for the rest of the football season, which is 5 weeks remaining, to break that record of 1997, which was set, and they had 55 sacks total. So it's pretty interesting, but right now, Falcons, they're struggling, man. They're struggling as a unit, but this defensive front has been promising. There's been small aspects on the defense that's been showing their tail and giving us something to be happy about. But Falcons, man, in these in this season, the course of the games, to kind of give you a heads up of where this season has been going. The Falcons have now lost 5 games by 3 or fewer points or in overtime so far this season. And another game that happened where they lost by 3 points against the New York Jets. Just crazy here that they somehow let this game slide out of their hands. But Bijan Robinson had a monstrous day, but it got spoiled by the Falcons. He had 142 rushing yards, averaged 6 yards per carry, had 5 catches for 51 yards, 193 total yards with a touchdown as well. And a lot of people want to put this game on Kirk Cousins. They're saying, oh, well, Kirk didn't play well. That's why the Falcons lost. Oh, he's just not going to get it done with the Falcons. And my thing here is I understand, I'm okay. I very much welcome any of the criticism for any aspect of this team, especially when you only won 5 of your last 6 games. Like, you deserve all the criticism in the world on both sides of the ball. But criticizing Kirk Cousins for losing against the New York Jets is not fair. Did you see what he was out there working with? Not only from the awful offensive play call. He had some terrible offensive sets that was called for him, but also he was giving no help on the offensive side. Had no Drake London. Ray McLeod is already released and gone. And then Kadero Hodge, who's your all-pro, wasn't even, he was available, but it was a healthy scratch for some reason that we don't know about. And then just multiple drop passes on game-winning drives and all throughout the game. So I look at this game and I see here he gave the Falcons multiple chances to close the game and win the game, but just so happens drop passes, awful play call, blown coverages, just all these sort of things just cooked up and combined for the Falcons to lose. So it's unfair to put this loss all on Kirk Cousins. It's not fair, especially when I sit there and watch Kirk Cousins throw absolute darts to his receivers and they drop the ball on a game-winning drive. There was a game-winning drive, went 3 and out. The Falcons went 3 and out on a game-winning drive. There was 2 drop passes back-to-back. Sills was one of them, and Darnell Mooney was one of them. How is this on Kirk Cousins? Please. I understand he made some bad throws earlier in the game and everything wasn't on point, but he ultimately helped get the offense downfield and gave us 24 points. So I can't even be mad at him in this sense. There was a lot of other factors that went into this of why the Falcons didn't win, and it wasn't on Kirk Cousins this time. And I will be the first to say it is on Kirk Cousins if that was the case. But 2 open drop passes on a game-winning drive, back-to-back, you were asking to lose. FBI needs to investigate this. FBI needs to investigate Sills and Darnell Mooney because wide open targets, man. This is not like Kirk threw it into coverage where it was just crazy amount of defenders next to him. He didn't throw it into double coverage. Hell, he didn't even throw it when there was a defender next to him. Sills literally dropped it right in open space. He was going to cut up and take it at least another 10 yards, but he dropped it. Darnell Mooney got scared, dropped it. Like, it makes no sense, man. So I just cannot blame Kirk Cousins for a situation that does not fall on him. Yes, I know quarterbacks are supposed to take the blame, but no, that one wasn't on Kirk Cousins for the reason that the offense didn't get downfield and win in overtime or get a chance to kick the field goal. Not on Kirk Cousins. And also for the defense, they played fairly solid at times, but this was not one of their best games. This was definitely not the case at all. Tyrod Taylor, man, had a vintage performance against the Falcons. He looked like college Tyrod Taylor. He looked like the Tyrod Taylor we all know about watching him in college, ACC champ, and that, like, just he turned back the clock, and it was partially because the Falcons didn't adjust throughout the game in terms of realizing that, oh yeah, this quarterback can use his legs and score and pick up the first down. There was times I didn't see any QB spies. I didn't see any QB contains. We were still letting Tyrod Taylor do whatever he wanted to this Atlanta Falcons defense. So yes, I vouched for the defense for the Falcons all throughout the season. I said the defensive line has been great, which they were, but they struggled at multiple times during this game, and the defense failed to make adjustments. So that one definitely on Jeff Albridge right there. He got to make something happen out of that, man. You can't get killed by the same thing, or you can't get burned by the same thing all throughout the game when it's clear that there is one thing that needs to change. So I struggle with that part. And the defense, again, they were solid for the most part. And we have a comment about the Kirk thing. So yeah, going back to Kirk did play good enough for us to win. I couldn't agree more that he actually gave us a good shot. But some things on the defensive side, we struggled to get stops. Obviously, Jets had a game-winning drive. Special teams fumbled the ball big time, man, big time. And this is what is really mind-blowing here. So we talk about offense, did pretty solid. Defense struggled at times. But the killer here, and the thing that really hurt us here is the special teams. We had a dropped punt return on special teams. The guy went back out there multiple times every time the Jets punted. Gave up 6 points on special teams because we muffed the punt. We had an awful punt to kick it to the Jets. for a potential game stopping drive. And it was just not good, man. The special teams had a rough time. And the thing is, I struggle because the Falcons aren't making any changes at all within the coaching staff. Now, here's where some drama comes in, because there's a lot of different things happening with this Falcons team behind the scenes, and we don't really know anything about it. So here's some rumors that I'll give you. And I'll try and speed it up just a little bit, but some rumors going on. The Falcons haven't fired any coaches after losing 6 of their last 7 games. No coaches have been fired. There was 5 straight L's in that entire span. But you can't sit here and tell me that the Falcons have a personnel issue when there's other teams that have way less talent on the offensive and defensive end, but yet they're thriving. Because the Patriots, a lot of these coaches, and I'll get there in a second. A lot of these coaches that teams have hired in the past 2 years since the Falcons hired Raheem Morris are thriving right now. Patriots, Mike Vrabel has his team 10-2. Yes, they have an easy schedule, but he's winning games. Bears, Ben Johnson has his team 9-3. Jaguars, Liam Cole has his team 8-4, which is going in the playoffs. Seahawks, Mike McDonald has his team 9-3. The Chargers, Jim Harbaugh has his team 8-4. Panthers, Dave Canellis, he has his team 7-6, which is possibly going to the playoffs right now. And you can't sit here and tell me that the Falcons don't have more exciting players and better players from an individual standpoint than all these teams I just named. Because when I look at the star players on this team and the guys, the all-pros, and all the guys they have at these certain positions and which team is healthy and which team is not, the Falcons are pretty balanced in terms of having some stardom, having some elite offensive talent, having some elite defensive talent, and to be able to compete and have a record that's better than 4-8. So I don't want to hear anything about, the Falcons, we don't have a quarterback. We don't have this we need receivers. Yes, they do need a lot of these things, and they need to be healthy, of course. But ultimately, there's no reason the Falcons should be 4-8 when we have other teams out here that's had 1 or 2 years with a new team, and they've completely turned around the culture wherever they're stationed. Falcons right now haven't turned around anything. Raheem Morris haven't turned around a damn thing right now. The press conferences are mad weird. He's always short about every single thing that he says. It's ridiculous what the Falcons are doing right now and continuously living in. It makes no sense at all. So I understand there's a lot of different things that the Falcons need to adjust in terms of adding personnel and adding this element to the offense, adding this element to the defense. But ultimately, it's not an excuse because the leadership up top is awful. Oh my gosh, it's awful. It's ridiculous. There was the press conference. So after the Jets game, there was a press conference that happened. It was a lot of questions being asked that fans want to hear. A lot of them was about just Kadarius Hodge. Why didn't he play? Because he was a healthy scratch. Some of them were just about firing and Raheem Morris feeling like he's in a hot seat and if he has faith in Kirk Cousins. It was a lot of good questions, but the rumors that kind of came to mind that I've seen post-game, and there are some things to confirm some of these rumors, not saying it's 100% true or not. However, one of the rumors circulating around with this Falcons team is that Raheem Morris lost the locker room. And this was mainly after it's said that Raheem Morris lost the locker room mainly after Ray McCloud was released and Ike Hiller, the wide receiver coach, was fired. Now, this happened earlier in the season after that Panthers lost 30-0, but they needed somebody for a scapegoat, and it was Ike Hiller. This was a guy who's been there for some time. He's clearly doesn't have that much of a say if you're just the wide receiver coach. And ever since he's been gone, the Falcons wide receivers has struggled outside of Drake London. Now, Ray McCloud, it gets even better because Ray McCloud, who's a restricted free or who's a free agent right now, Ray McCloud posted or he retweeted a tweet that said Raheem Morris lost the locker room since he got rid of Hillary and Ray. Raheem or Ray McCloud retweeted that, and rumors say that the reason Ray McCloud was released was because he was one of the few guys to be vocal about Ike Hiller being fired and how bad of a decision it was. Again, don't know if it's 100% true, but these are just rumors that I'm seeing down rabbit holes and things that I'm picking up on simple retweets and likes from some of the guys who are on this staff. So, it's weird to me that now we're way down the line. We're way past that week where we got blown out by the Panthers. But yet, it's still weird because Kadarius Hodge, healthy, former Pro Bowler, healthy scratch. Didn't play against this Jets team. When we were down Drake London, down Ray McCloud, who was a starter, two starting receivers were down. And let's not forget, Darnell Mooney was a starter, but he was down multiple times throughout the course of the season. But yet we still didn't play Kadero Hodge. Like something weird is happening with this Falcons team, and everything is a secret regarding the team, regarding the health of guys, regarding coaches being scapegoated. There's just no true, nothing genuine happening with this team. Like it's terrible, man. Everything behind the scenes is just it's wild right now, and honestly, with the way this Falcons organization is moving, being led by Raheem Morris right now, and even from those above too, there's some other guys in the mix right now, which I'm not going to get into, but the Falcons have absolutely no culture at its core, and it's getting more and more evident every single week. Because I don't see any valid reason why Raheem Morris is still the head coach after this performance that he's done. Because there's nothing that says the Falcons are getting better week after week after week. Every week for the past 2 seasons since Raheem Morris has been there, we've seen this same type of just awful offense. We've seen the same type of confusion when he's running the game and controlling the game. It's always the same exact thing. And when you look at the other examples of guys who have success elsewhere, Mike Vrabel with the Patriots, Ben Johnson with the Bears, Liam Cole with the Jaguars, Seahawks, Mike McDonald, Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, Panthers, Daniel Canellis. Like all of these guys have finally began to figure it out after being there for at least 2 years. And you mean to tell me that Raheem Morris is still doing damn near a pretty good job, enough to keep his job? Are you kidding me? No, hell no. I'm just not going for it. And man, this Falcons team they've really ruined. They've ruined it, man. They've ruined it. You know, at this point, I'm starting to believe the Atlanta Falcons gotta be some sort of cop out for the NFL to see how much an NFL fan can take, and to really see how long fans can be a fan of a team. Like at this point, I don't have any other idea of why this Falcons team isn't making any changes from the coaching staff, from above. Like it makes no sense, man. And I know there's other teams that's out here that's bad. So yeah, of course, obviously I need to be grateful, but bro, this is rough. Maybe it's a couple of other teams. Maybe it's like the Falcons in there with the Browns, just bundled in with a couple of other teams that are just stuck in there with the Jets. So yeah, it's just a handful of teams. Raiders are possibly in there. Like maybe that's the case. They're all just a part of some deal for the NFL to see how long and how much a fan can actually take of being a fan of that team. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But look, man, we got some more stuff. So I know that one was a little bit longer, but we got some stuff. We got some news coming up. We're going to give you a recap of like where the playoff standings are in the NFL and what teams are looking for a playoff trip and what might happen, what will happen. So we'll see. We'll take a look into all of that stuff. So don't go anywhere. We got some more stuff coming up. Also, in just 2 minutes, I'm going to give you a breakdown of a couple other NFL teams that will tell a story about how they've been going. So we'll recap a couple of NFL teams just the past couple of weeks, because I know I took the week off for the holiday and all of that. So we'll jump into that in just a sec. Don't go anywhere. It is halftime. And if this ain't facts, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. It was actually multiple times throughout the game where in the third quarter, I was like, yeah, man, Falcons are gonna do it. Falcons gonna blow the game. I'm like, it's just gonna happen, man. I've seen it happen too many times. But this play in particular was another moment where I was like, oh man, Falcons are cooked. I'm like, we are absolutely cooked. Like, yeah, it's wild. All right, let's jump into some news. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. I appreciate you for tuning in. Hit us up on a voicemail line, 219-413-9405. If you want to just get something off your chest, hit us up. Let us know what quick take you're thinking, or if your team is doing good, bad, and we'll go ahead, comment on it, or respond to something. You know, maybe I said something about your team, so we'll see. Anyway, let's give a quick recap of Week 13 in the NFL, and it's not completely over because the Patriots are playing the Giants right now as I speak. And let's start with Thursday Night Football. This was Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, but the Packers, they beat the Detroit Lions for the second time this season. Oh my gosh, 31-24. And this was a very winnable game, another winnable game from the Detroit Lions. And they fell short, man. Dan Campbell got to kick some field goals, and I'll elaborate on that just a little bit more in just a second. But Packers ended up winning that game, going for the season sweep. The Chiefs, they fell short to the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys balled out. Oh my gosh, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. This duo, it's similar to, I'll put it this way. The Cowboys duo of George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb is very similar to what Joe Burrow has in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. It's very similar. I mean, Dak can literally just throw the ball up and one of them receivers is going to catch it. And it's extremely hard for any defense to guard because both of the guys you have on the field at receivers are extremely difficult to guard. So I love this for Dak Prescott and I love it for the Cowboys. Usually I'm always counting on the Cowboys' downfall, but they've been entertaining the hell out of us week after week with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. So I personally love it, and I hope they continue on to thrive. And I know it's weird for me to say, man. It's weird for me to say, but hey, man, I'm happy they doing their thing. It's good to see at least George Pickens being used in a way that shows he clearly has a lot of value to any team that he's on. It shows all the narratives that was spoken about him early on when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers are just clearly untrue. The whole bad teammate, the diva, like he's shown the opposite of all of those bad narratives. So I love it. He's shown everything, and also he's shown, if anything, that he's a baller. So I love that from them. Other than that, we have the Bengals. They ended up beating the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this is a good win here because the Ravens are only 6-6, and right now they are sitting in a playoff spot. So anything can continue to happen for that AFC North division. Steelers, they also have a 6-6 record, but because the Ravens did beat the Steelers, they get priority in the playoffs. Now, because the Bengals just beat the Ravens, if they somehow end up with the same record, then the Bengals might possibly strangle their way into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see here. For Friday, after Thanksgiving, we witnessed the Chicago Bears beat down on the Philadelphia Eagles, and this was another crazy game. Man, Bears showed that they are for real. Crazy. New York Jets, they beat the Atlanta Falcons. Browns, they did not beat. They fell short to the San Francisco 49ers. They got beat down. I'll put it that way. 49ers won that game 26-8. But Shedeur Sanders, he did get another start. And after the game, even though the things didn't go the way that the Browns hoped, Stefanski said Shedeur Sanders will be QB1 moving forward. I know that's a huge cheer for a lot of people to hear right now. So Jaguars, they beat the Titans 25-3. Texans, they ended up beating the Colts, which was a crucial win here, 20-16. And this also had a play in how the playoffs are going to turn out. The Saints, they fell short to the Dolphins. Cardinals, they fell short to the Buccaneers. The Rams, they lost to the Carolina Panthers. Panthers ended up beating the Rams 31-28. And I don't know about this Panthers team, but truthfully, I don't think you can count the Panthers out, man. And I really want to count the Panthers out. Look at the team I'm wearing. I would love to count the Panthers out. But I think it's only fair to consider them as somewhat of an elite team. I mean, they've lost to bad teams, and they've won against elite teams. It's clear that the Carolina Panthers can win or lose to anybody that they go against. And for some reason, we never know what Bryce Young we're going to get. Maybe we get the Bryce Young where he's Cam Newton, or maybe we get the Bryce Young where he's J.J. McCarthy. You just never really know, but I think sometimes this makes the Carolina Panthers dangerous, and they might end up winning this division, man. Right now they're 7-6, and Buccaneers right now are 7-5. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out between the Buccaneers and the Panthers. This is really the only competition in the NFC South. So we'll see what happens there. Now, the Seattle Seahawks, they smacked the Minnesota Vikings 26-0. And man, Vikings were without J.J. McCarthy. They had the backup in, and it did not look pretty. I'll just leave it at that, man. This is a team that once had Sam Darnold. This is also a team who once had Daniel Jones, and now they're left with J.J. McCarthy, which is just crazy. It's crazy to think about. But Vikings, that's rough. Anyway, the Bills, they beat the Steelers 26-7. The Chargers, they ended up beating the Las Vegas Raiders. The Broncos, they beat the Commanders in prime time in overtime 27-26. And again, you have the Monday night game right now. Patriots currently lead 3-0. Giants have the ball. And it's interesting because, as I said, it's a couple teams that I want to talk about just for literally 2 minutes, no more than that. Gonna go to maybe 3 teams just for 2 minutes. And this first team that deserves a conversation, the Philadelphia Eagles, man. All right, now, Philadelphia Eagles, please hear me out, man. I really don't want to make fun of the Eagles in a bad way, but Eagles fans, dog, some of y'all, some Eagles fans, hear me out. Some Eagles fans. Some of y'all Eagles fans are telling me that the Eagles are elite. I'm just on the side of thinking the Eagles aren't as elite as people are making it seem. I was told that, yeah, the offense stinks, but the defense is where we are. The defense is the side that's holding everything together. Now, I'm just saying, I'm going to point out some obvious stats, so you correct me if I'm wrong. Now, the Eagles, I don't know about that defense too much. I know the offense is shaky, but that defense look a little rough because they blew a 21-0 lead to the Dallas Cowboys and gave up 17 unanswered points. Like, it's I know the offense didn't help much by putting pressure on the Cowboys, but damn it, if you got an elite defense, you're not giving up 17 unanswered points. I'm sorry, you're just not letting that happen to blow the game. And then you allow Dak Prescott to throw for over 350 yards, which is also a damn shame for the Dallas Cowboys or a damn shame for the Philadelphia Eagles if you have an elite defense. I find that's a problem. And for those of you who told me the Eagles have an elite defense and the defense is where it is, that Cowboys game did not prove it at all. Dak threw for 350. You had 17 unanswered points, and you lost the game. And then the following week, you played the Chicago Bears, and you gave up 280 rushing yards, and you allowed 2 running backs to have over 120 rushing yards. Crazy. And then let me just go ahead, throw a little more salt in the wound, I guess. I'm sorry, Eagles fans. I'm really not trying to rub it in, but I just want to get to the bottom of the issue of what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles, because this defense that y'all told me about, oh, it's this Eagles defense. We're so elite. All of that, the secondary, man, boom, boom, boom. When y'all was beating down on trash teams like the New York Giants with no Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo, yeah, it was all the defense is this, defense is that. But damn, you had 17 unanswered points against the Cowboys. You gave the Bears 281 rushing yards. You allowed 2 running backs to rush for over 120 yards. You allowed Dak Prescott to throw for over 350 yards on you. And then you fell to the bottom half of yards allowed per game defensively. You fell to the bottom half of rushing yards allowed defensively. You fell to the bottom half of sacks on the defensive end. What is it? What is that? What's the issue? And I'm on the side. I'll give you some leeway here. To be fair, it is hard for a team to play good defense all the time and maintain some good stats on the defensive end when the offense isn't helping and the defense is out there all damn game. I understand that. I'm the first one to admit that. But I will also be foolish to not admit that I think the fraud alarm is calling for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's calling ring, 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 because these boys ain't been looking good offensively. And now that bread and butter you told me about, which is so special to the Eagles right now, the defense is falling apart. I just don't know if the Eagles are going to be legitimate contenders come playoffs. This might be one of them seasons where you get the boot in the wild card game, but it just really, really depends on who the Eagles play. But if I'm wrong, correct me. Let me know. Hit the voicemail line up, 219, whatever that number is. You will see it at the bottom of the video, but hit us up. Let me know. Comment. I just want to know. I want to know. If I'm wrong, correct me. But from what I've seen with the Philadelphia Eagles in the past few weeks, And also throughout the course of the season, they look like frauds because they had some games early on in the season as well that they probably shouldn't have won, but it just so happened that the teams they were going against made a bonehead mistake, or they happened to pull out the game by a field goal, or just some magical treatment from the referees that allowed the Philadelphia Eagles to win. So I'm just saying, based on everything I've seen, the first few weeks of the schedule, okay, you had some good wins. They were close games. You pulled it out, which is dope. But this defense y'all told me about is not stunning like y'all once promised me and like y'all been telling me in comments and things like that. We all know the offense is terrible. So the Philadelphia Eagles, man, I mean, y'all might be getting that fraud alarm. Y'all might be getting that fraud alarm going on. But the good thing about it, Eagles, you guys are not alone. Don't worry. The Eagles are not alone. All right, another team here that I tried to go 2 minutes. I hope that was 2 minutes. I don't know if it was over or not, but let's do it. Let me keep my promise. Another 2 minutes. Let's start the timer right now. The Detroit Lions. All right, some of you Lions fans, bro, you got some. Hear me out. Hear me out. I know a lot of Lions fans, and I promise I'm not talking about anybody direct. I promise. But some of you Lions fans have become extremely entitled. This is ridiculous. Some of y'all have become intolerable and extremely entitled because have you forgot where you come from as a Detroit Lions fan? I mean, Dan Campbell, the same guy you guys are crying about firing right now, is the same man that took y'all to a conference championship at one point, and the same guy who helped y'all break the curse that was there for over 50 years, and now y'all want to fire him. Now, because he lost a couple games, because the team is down to their third and fourth string backup players, you guys want him gone. And yes, I'm the first one to admit, yeah, Dan Campbell definitely needs to start kicking some damn field goals, or he probably will lose his job. I can agree with that. He got to kick some field goals because there's a couple of times where the Lions could have won, man. You look at this game against the Packers, they could have won had they kicked some field goals. And I'm on the side of, yeah, the Lions was getting robbed by the referees per usual on Thanksgiving. But ultimately, that game was a winnable game that they lost against the Packers. And then you look furthermore into it, you looked at the last loss that the Lions had. Man, it was a winnable game, but they didn't kick any field goals. So I'm the first one to say, like, yes, Lions need to kind of readjust and redo this aggressiveness that they have with Dan Campbell, but damn it, I don't think firing Dan Campbell is the answer. Not at all, man. Especially when you got two new coordinators that's learning on the job as you go. To me, that's not a smart decision to get rid of someone who helped Ben Johnson get to the level that he's on. We see what he's doing right now in Chicago. I'm sorry, Lions fans, but we see what he's doing. And then we also got another guy who was helped by Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn with the New York Jets, and he's establishing a pretty solid culture over there, even though the record doesn't reflect that. So, Lions fans, some of y'all have become extremely entitled, and you are intolerable to think that the Lions should fire Dan Campbell immediately. It's crazy to me. It's wild. But that's my 2 minutes. That's all I'm gonna say on that piece right now. And I promise there's some more because I brought up the guy, Ben Johnson, the one that Dan Campbell helped out. And, you know, the job he's doing over there in Chicago is amazing. I'm shocked, man. I'm shocked. Truth be told, what the Bears have going on with Ben Johnson, I am jealous. I am jealous. And I never thought I would say that about the Chicago Bears. But damn it, getting a new head coach, turning it around, winning ball games, it's incredible. And the one thing here, let me start my 2 minutes right now. So the thing with the Chicago Bears, best in the NFC statistically, they're number one in the conference. And nobody knows it yet, but the Bears are actually a legitimate team. And I don't say this because they beat the Eagles. No, I say the Bears are legitimate more so because they figured out a way to win these down to the wire type of games. This is the thing. This is one of the hardest things to do in the NFL, win these down to the wire games, especially all throughout the course of the game when you thinking about kicking a field goal, going for it on fourth down. The Bears have finally figured it out, and they're winning these ball games. And this is the biggest difference of a team that's 8-9 and not making the playoffs and a team that's 10-7, which is usually a playoff spot, is are you winning these down to the wire games? So I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Bears. The offense is completely legit right now. We've seen them run over teams. We've seen them throw bombs over teams. They're kind of doing whatever they need to do to win. And Ben Johnson looked like Man, it looks like he took this Lions offense and just transferred everything to the Bears. It's looking really, really good. So I look, man, not to rub it in on any Lions fans, but Bears, I think they're legit, man. And truthfully, like I am happy for the Bears, man. I'm so happy for the Bears that they figured it out. And I never thought I would say this, but I am truly jealous of the Chicago Bears, man. They found out a way to win these down to the wire games, and it's changed the culture there. It's changed the team, and they have a new culture over there with the Chicago Bears, and they're thriving. This is the first winning season they're probably going to have since 2018. And as a team, or as a fan of a team who hasn't won or haven't had a winning season since 2017, like, I love it. I love it, man. It's crazy for the Chicago Bears, man. I'm very, very happy about what they're doing right now. All my Bears fans out there, I just really want you to know, man, I'm happy for you, even though I'm not a Bears fan, but to my Bears fans, I'm happy for you, man. As a fan of a team that hasn't had a winning season since 2017, you deserve all this. You deserve the excitement. You got a new coach who's flipped the culture around. He's actually doing great things. He's doing a solid job developing the quarterback, orchestrating the game plan, getting the defense solid. Like, you guys, you deserve it, man. First winning season since 2018. Y'all deserve it. Shout out to y'all, man. And I think it's legit, man, because y'all actually winning these down to the wire games, and that's the hardest thing to do in the NFL. One of the hardest things to do. Other than that, man, look, those are the teams I have, and we'll probably come back with some more teams, especially as we get closer to the playoffs. And I'm gonna need some help, so I gotta bring in my guy Travis. Some of y'all know him, some of y'all don't. Whatever, you'll find out very soon. That's all that matters. Other than that, man, look, that's all I have for you guys. I'm gonna leave on a positive note here, and the positive note is just gonna simply be trust in the timing of everything, man. Don't stress too much about the timing of everything working out and not working out. I'm also a victim of doing that, but truthfully, man, you got to just try and just enjoy the process, which is a very difficult thing to do. And I have to remind myself to do that sometimes, but I think that is, if we can all try and stay a little bit conscious of it, it'll definitely make things a little bit better. But it's difficult. It's difficult to do. But that's a positive note I have for you. Other than that, that's all I got, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, for kicking it with me, hanging around. Send this to a cousin, a brother, an uncle, niece, nephew, coworker, friend, family member, anyone you know who enjoys sports. And I promise they won't mind, man. Worst case, they won't listen. Follow us on Instagram at The Run Podcast, TikTok at The Run Podcast, YouTube, The Run with Manny Wilson, Facebook at The Run Podcast. Other than that, that's all I got, man. We'll be back later on this week, and so on and so on and so on.